Hey guys, this is JoINrbs here, and I'm talking to you today about the 28, 27, 26, 25, 24th best ship in FTL, the 5th worst ship in FTL. And this is sort of a bittersweet moment because the Rocket is the last ship in FTL, in my opinion, which just starts with a massive staring you right in the face, impossible to fix without RNG problem. Which has been a pretty normal thing for all the ships so far, but after the Rock A, we start looking at ships which are actually like pretty reasonable overall. The Rock A is not one of those ships. The problem with the Rock A is that it starts with 2 missile launchers. And like, I don't know if like the game was developed with lower than hard difficulty in mind and the missile launchers worked there because rewards were higher or something like that, and then the developers were like, oh, those hard players, they'll just work out how to deal with it. They're really good. They like challenges. The problem is there isn't like there isn't a way to fix the fact that your weapons are going to run out of missiles, which is what's going to happen on the Rocket if you don't find different weapons or a crew teleporter. If you don't find different weapons or a crew teleporter, quite soon, you will stop being able to kill enemy ships. So, therein lies our problem. The Rocket, the difference between it and a reasonable gunship can be simplified pretty reasonably to a math problem where you look at how sectors spawn and how many free weapons you can find in them and how many weapons or crew teleporters you expect to find in stores. And I haven't done all of the math on that, and if you wanted to, I'd be interested to see what you came up with. But just like ballpark figures, there's a 25% chance in any store to find a crew teleporter. So if you're looking for that for the first 2 sectors and you find 3 stores in the first 2 sectors, which I don't think is unreasonable, there's a non-terrible chance that you're going to manage to pick up a crew teleporter. It's about 50-50 at that point, I believe, eyeballing the math. As far as weapons, in my experience, turning the Rock A into a ship with good weapons by Sector 3, no longer reliant on consumables, is like quite a bit of work. But we'll say that like another 25 to 30% of the time, when you don't have a crew teleporter option available, you can do that with weapons. And so you only have like 20% of runs where you are just dying, having run out of missiles in space alone. Which, like, on the one hand, 20% sounds low, but on the other hand, when you phrase it like that, maybe it sounds high again. I don't know. Anyway, the good old Rock A. We start with 3 rock crew, and I love the way that Dolphin Chemist explains how rock crew make this ship feel, because rock crew move at half the speed of regular crew, right? So I saw Dolphin Chemist do this and I just thought it was the coolest thing. If you imagine for a second, like here's the ship, right? Now imagine that instead the ship looks like that. That's about what the ship is actually like in terms of your crew movement speed. It's very, very large. It takes a long time to get your crew into shields if you need to repair shields. If you need to repair doors, it takes a long time to do that. If you need to repair your oxygen, you're all dead. Like, God bless. Good luck on the next round. The Rock A can be very awkward to repair, and even though your rocks are very strong against borders, it can be difficult just to get to the rooms that the borders are in. It's unfortunate. It's a ship that could really benefit from a rock starting on doors and then just running to engines, but I'm pretty sure it actually takes too long. I'm pretty sure that in this time there are, you know, a decent number of weapons that can actually hit you. Consider like a combat drone on an asteroid field as a worst case example where you don't have that evasion from engines at all. It is not that uncommon to end up with your oxygen and doors broken on this ship and having your guys in the medbay with like no way to repair them. If that ever happens to you, upgrading the medbay to level 2 will actually heal your guys faster than the asphyxiation is hurting them, and you can run somebody to engines. This is piloting. Run somebody to piloting and jump, and then run back on the next jump. This sounds like a very corner case thing, but I'm telling you right now, this is going to happen to you if you play the Rock A enough. You're going to get your oxygen and doors broken and be hanging out in the medbay. And I've played an entire sector with the Rock A, running to piloting and then back to the medbay again. Eventually found a drone control with a system repair drone, and we were good to go. But yeah, watch out for that. So the Rock A is actually a fairly expensive starting ship. Even without consumables, it's 14th, so right around the halfway mark, which is, you know, quite impressive for a ship that I'm saying is very bad. And with consumables, it's the 6th most expensive ship in the game. That's because we spent all of our money on 28 missiles, though. God forbid we buy, like, cloaking and a flak 1, because that would just... No. 28 missiles. That's... that's what I want for Christmas. The Rock A is going to shoot some missiles at things, and because of the strength of the missile launcher, it actually has a pretty strong Sector 1. I'm going to see if I can find a fight so we can see these systems in action. Should probably go to that store. Alright, let's attack the automated ship. This actually doesn't have... That's sort of hilarious how bad this fight is for us. It doesn't have... it doesn't have any shields, so the missile shield penetration doesn't matter. And it has cloaking. Fortunately... Ooh, we did that late. Fortunately, I think we'll be alright here. We want to target the empty room with the hull missile. It deals 4 damage to empty rooms. And we've killed a ship, gotten double rewards. That was a really nice start. I failed to make this point, which I was trying to make, but this is a ship that benefits a lot from weapon swapping. When you have a missile launcher that's just fired, having it in the 2nd position is a really great idea. And then you flip them around when this one's closer to firing than this one is. You just want to make sure that the more important missile weapon is less vulnerable to being shut off by incoming enemy fire, typically. And typically, which one's more valuable changes based on which one is more fully charged. And because they're missile weapons, so you're not salvoing them together, because they don't have to break through the shields, they're going to be like all over the place in terms of which one's firing next and how long. All right, another good point to make about the Rock A. One of the reasons that it's fairly expensive out of the gate, and one of the things that actually makes it a non-terrible ship, in my opinion, is we do start with a rock plating. Now this, don't read what it does, because who cares? It sells for 40 scrap, which is very nice. And right now, we could just buy a halberd beam if we wanted. So... the Rock A is ready to turn into a real ship if you get to a store with the right stuff. The problem is finding that store. And, I mean, I think in this case, we would go... It's really difficult to decide. Because the halberd beam runs into some slight scaling issues in, like, Sector 3 and 4 if we can't support it well. But I think in this case, since it solves our problem, and I don't know how many more stores we're going to see before we need to get rid of these missile launchers, and there's certainly no guarantee that we're seeing a crew teleporter or a better weapon than this. I think we would typically buy a halberd beam or a laser charger here. You can go laser charger for the 2 shots, and at that point you're just like a worse version of the Kestrel A, basically. You could also go halberd beam, which scales a lot more powerfully if the things come online to support it. You'd want another weapon to strip shields, or maybe hacking to strip shields, something like that. Anyway, I was going to just like upgrade the shield system and show you how easy it was to get shields 2 on the ship. Because like going to a store to get shields 2 is a pretty reasonable thing to do on the Rock A super early, and it makes your Sector 1 and 2 very safe. But, now we have to make difficult decisions about exactly what weapon we're adding. I think I would go for Halberd Beam here. So the Rock A is, at that point, once we've made the, like, inflection point decision and gotten out of the, oh god, we're going to die because we, you know, don't have any weapons phase of the game, the Rock A just turns into a gunship, basically. It's got fairly good crew. It's difficult to walk around, unfortunately. Ooh, look at that. But it's just like a fairly regular gunship. And I don't know that there's that much interesting to say about it past that point. The thing I do want to talk about in terms of like the other common solution for the Rock A, because we've basically solved the early game problems with a Halberd Beam. We need to pick up something else to help at some point, but it could be just about anything. A lot of weapons in the game are fine to finish making our salvo for Sector 3 at this point. I want to talk a little bit about the crew teleporter. So you can buy a crew teleporter on this ship. Any ship that you buy a crew teleporter on, it's 90 scrap and it's a 2-slot crew teleporter. So that's expensive, and it's not a 4-slot crew teleporter, it's only 2. But we have rock crew, and we start the game with missile weapons. We started with 2 missile weapons, and probably will sell 1 but keep the Artemis. The Artemis deals 2 damage through shields. So a lot of the time, you're going to have a very quick, this is an 11-second charge time, a very quick solution to the enemy's most dangerous weapon or to their like med bay / clone bay. Having a missile weapon or a small bomb, a bomb type weapon, a fire bomb's very good because rocks are immune to fire damage. This makes boarding a lot safer, and this is one of the pieces that the Federation C, which was the last ship that I reviewed, is really missing. So the crew teleporter is a very inviting option on the Rock A, and I'd encourage you, if you're not comfortable with the crew teleporter, to pick up a ship. Pick up a ship like the Crystal B, that's like crew teleporter with training wheels. Maybe like the Mantis A if you want to get a slightly more intense feel for crew teleporter, which feels a little bit more like the Rock A might with a missile launcher and a crew teleporter. Play a few runs with those and just get the crew teleporter going. Because if you're struggling to win with the Rock A, and you should be, because it's not that good, being able to feel really confident in boarding situations is going to be hugely useful and will really help you out in, you know, sort of opening up the possibilities for solving the problems with the ship. You might only be able to get your weapons up and running 60, 70, 80 even % of the time before you start running out of missiles and everything just goes to hell. But if you have that extra half the time where you're able to pick up a crew teleporter, that just makes everything so much better on average. So, I hope you guys have enjoyed this look at the Rock A. I guess we didn't talk about like venting or defending against boarding too much. If you get another crew, throw them on doors and defend that way. We talked a little bit about repairing the oxygen. But yeah, it's a fairly normal gunship with this very unique early game problem and some sort of interesting early game weapons in the missile launchers, which give it a good Sector 1 and 2 before everything falls off a cliff in Sector 3 if you haven't found replacements for your guns. I've been JoINrbs. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time with the 23rd best ship in FTL. Ooh, we're already getting really good, aren't we? I have a link below the video to my Patreon if you want to support my YouTube video creation. I ask for people to do that there. I also have a link to my Twitter, to my Discord if you want to get to be a part of the community, chat with me, get updates on what I'm up to, when things are going live, stuff like that. Talk with other viewers about... It's about 50% just trolling me with like emotes and stuff, but you know, there's also community games, pickup games, talking about D&D, stuff like that. And obviously, if you're on YouTube, you have a subscribe button right here if you want to sub to my YouTube and see more stuff from me there. And I have the Twitch channel linked below, where I'm playing games like 8 hours a day, if you want to catch me there. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I've been JoINrbs, and I'll see you next time with another FTL ship review.